I never know what to say after Nelu does these amazing presentations. Like I have nothing to say now. I think you kind of said it all. I'm very humbled and very grateful to have the opportunity to kind of just have a great conversation with you guys today. This is a great community that comes to here to learn. It's about a continuous improvement mindset, and out of popular demand, a lot of folks get to contribute to the different topics that you guys want to learn about. And we try to bring as many speakers as possible every week. And one of the topics that we heard that you guys wanted to have better discussions on was, what is an Agile coach? And also, what are the Agile coaching capabilities? So that's a little bit of the conversation that we're going to have today. So Nelu, do you want me to share my screen?
I can do it if you feel more comfortable. Let me know. I can do it.
Yeah, if you don't mind. If you don't mind.
Absolutely. Yeah. There we go.
Let's see. So Agile coaching capabilities. I think I got a couple of slides going forward. All right. Nelu already talked about my background. I love helping people. You know, I volunteer a lot in the Agile community. I'm a speaker, I'm a trainer, I'm a consultant. And it's really around, I started out in consulting in the first place and helping clients and figuring things out. And then I went more internal and more operational. And when I went back to being an Agile coach, after having been in project management for a lot of years, then my career shifted and I became an Agile coach. For me, it's putting on that consultant hat again. It's always trying to figure out what's the best technique and what's the best process to help people out. And I was kind of doing that in my role in project management, and I went up in leadership in that path, but I kind of got stuck and I was stagnant, right? Because there were so many roadblocks in the world of waterfall and in implementing and helping clients and with leadership. And when I got into the Agile world, it really opened up my mind again into all these different types of techniques that we can use to help our customers, right? To help our teams. And there's such a cultural mindset shift in that world that for me, it made a huge difference. It really did. And it expanded my career. I went from having direct reports to going back into the consulting world. And some people are like, oh my God, you know, how can you leave, you know, that whatever leadership title career path? But it was such a great opportunity for me. And I enjoy what I do because it's something different every day. So I guess that's the fun part. But here's a little bit of my background, my motivation and my passion. That's my mom there. She's passed away a couple of years ago, and she was a stroke victim. And our family went through a lot after she had her stroke. And so it was, you know, very, very hard on all of us, very hard on her. But her strive and her motivation and her determination, even before her stroke, just in her life as a person, she's always been my hero and my motivator. And there's nothing I can't do because being a child of immigrant parents, right? And seeing that struggle, that for me made a huge difference in my life. And I love to travel. I love to travel. That's my passion. So I hope to do a lot more of that as well. So that's a little bit of me in a nutshell. Okay, but I'm here to learn about you guys. And in order to start that conversation, we have a couple of polls that Nelu has been gracious enough to put in a tool called Poll Everywhere. So we're going to start out with a little fun question here. If you could be a character in a movie, what character would you be? And I think she's putting it on the chat, Nay, right?
Yes, in the chat, you will be able to click on that link and actually reply back to the question.
If you can be a movie character, what character would you be? Let's see. What fans do we have out there? And I see a couple of my friends showed up. I see Olga Costa's here. Adolfo showed up. They're kind of quiet. Let's see. Did Adolfo turn on his camera?
No, he hasn't.
He hasn't. But Olga Costa's here. Hi, Olga. Welcome, Olga.
Hey, Regina, how are you?
I'm doing great, my friend. Great to see your name pop up. That's awesome.
I keep forgetting, and I'm like, today I'm doing it. I'm joining.
Great.
Good to see you.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. Oh, Picard, Star Trek, Batman. I think that's Captain Jack. Ryan. Who's Ryan? Who's Ryan? Let's see. Oh, Adolfo. Adolfo, can you unmute?
Hello, you guys hear
Hey.
me?
Yeah,
Hey,
I can hear you now. Welcome, welcome.
cool. All right.
Awesome. I got my coaching friends are here too, so I might be expecting you guys to chime in, okay? All right, if you can be a cartoon character, who would you be? Oh, the Great Gatsby. We got some on the chat.
Yeah, I am going to put that there. Great Gatsby.
I think that Ryan one is Jack Ryan or
Yeah, I thought that too. Like Jack.
Oh, okay, okay, awesome.
Right. I can't really type because I'm driving. Sorry.
No, but thank you for sharing.
Tweety
Tweety
Bird.
Bird, somebody put Tweety Bird, that's cute. Oh, Sherlock Holmes, nice. Oh, I'm gonna put, okay, I got mine too, Wonder Woman. That one's mine as well. Who put
Yeah.
Wonder Woman?
Not
That
me.
would be me.
Awesome.
Sorry.
That's my favorite. Wonder Woman, I'm gonna put that.
Right.
All right, that's just for a little fun there. So thank you guys for sharing.
All right. So the next question is, what is your current role or title? 1 second.
And it's always great for us to know, the people that participate, what do you do? What's your role? What's your title? That also helps us a little bit with the conversations. And maybe you have more than one role. So if you have more than one role, feel free to pick that as well.
So in the chat, Scrum Master, Agile Coach.
Nice. Operations analyst. Awesome.
So you have a technical scrum master, but you don't have a technical product owner.
Ah, I mean, you could answer that for both.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Agile coaches, we got enterprise Agile coaches, we got Scrum masters, product owners. Let's see. Oh, and they put a lot of options there.
Yeah, we have operation analyst, and yet I didn't include operation analyst. Sorry.
We got portfolio managers. Okay, very good, very good. Okay. Let's see. Thank you for sharing, guys. Thank you for sharing.
All right, and then our next question is, do you have Agile coaches as a role in your organization?
And that's always a good question to ask, right? Because we actually know of a lot of organizations that don't have Agile coaches or don't have that title, but they do have Agile teams. And somebody says yes, but they may not do Agile. That's a good one. But we all, Adolfo, was that you? Yes, but we are distinguished. That was Adolfo.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a new title that they're putting that's a new word that they're putting in front of titles. You know how they have principal? There's some companies that are using the word distinguished in front of them, which is quite funny. Are there any of you that are working for companies that do not that are Agile but do not have Agile coaches?
Oh, Weber says we do not have Agile coaches, rather 2 Scrum Masters.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Thank you guys for sharing that.
Right. And the last question is, what do Agile coaches help out in your organization? And we have several options there for those of you who have Agile coaches. Then Thomas says, same as Lydia, searching for a role. Previous company did not have Agile coaches, though some of us were doing that function regardless of title.
Wonderful. Okay, this is really good. This is good.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the role of the Agile coaches and and what are the many things in an organization that they help out with, right? A lot of people think that Agile coaches are only at the team level, but they do a lot more than just help teams. Helping teams is wonderful, but they actually scale up in the organization and they go across the enterprise. Okay, very, very good. Thank you. Thank you, Nelu. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the Agile coaching development path. Again, this is a very basic conversation. If you can go to the next slide. It's just an introduction, right? So Agile coaches, oh my goodness, they come from a lot of different areas, experiences, and walks of life, okay? If you look at the Agile coaches and you look at their background and where they came from, it's very varied. It's very, very varied. A lot of them come from the technology side, but a lot of them also come from the business side. And it depends on which career path they started at. As far as degrees, all of us that are either working in technology or even working in business areas, our degrees are also very varied, right? They're not necessarily always technology degrees, as you guys all know, and I think that might be personal to all of you as well. But many coaches, they could have been developers, they could have been analysts, they could have been testers, project managers, but they could have also been business leaders, right? Operational leaders. They could have come from many different walks of life. This is not precisely the career path, but it's one of many career paths that we kind of wanted to share. So a lot of folks that are starting out in Agile, many times either you start out as part of an Agile team in a technical role or a business role, or you become a team facilitator, kind of like a Scrum Master, right? So some of the folks that are first coming into Agile, a lot of them are like, oh, like I hear a lot of you, oh, I'm a Scrum Master, or I want to become a Scrum Master. And that typically is a good entry point to going into the Agile coaching. But many organizations, the Scrum Masters actually are the Agile coaches, right? So here, when you see the word Agile Team Facilitator, we're referring to there as Scrum Masters. Does that make sense? Okay. But then many Scrum Masters say, okay, what is my opportunity for growth? And that's where many organizations have the role of an Agile coach. And there's differences between the team level Scrum Master and the Agile coach, right? They guide the teams, they mentor, they advise, they teach. The Scrum Master also does that as well. But the Agile coaches, if it is in a career path type of role, you're going to see that they do a bit more there. They're sort of like their audience and their target area, they kind of grow more. They expand. Then we have something called an enterprise Agile coach. So this one is interesting. Again, not many organizations have what we call an enterprise Agile coach. And at that level, you're working more with leaders and you're working more strategically and you're working more at the enterprise level, okay? But again, this is just a sample path of the Agile coaching capabilities, but it's not the only one. It's not the only one. I am going to make that statement. Can we go to the next slide? All right. So again, there's many different levels in an organization, right? So you've got coaching is also a leadership capability. So I'm going to say all of you are leaders in one form or another, regardless of what your role or regardless of what your title is. If you are working in a company and you've reached a certain level, again, regardless of your title, you always have the opportunity to lead one way or another, because you're going to be helping individuals on a one-on-one. You may even be helping a group of people. So coaching is also a leadership capability. All right. I know in this content, we're talking about Agile coaching, but coaching is a leadership capability. And in the trainings that we do for leaders, coaching is a capability like mentoring, etc. But then there's team coaching, right? And that's where we're talking about Agile teams and the coaching of a group of people. Now, when you go up to the program coaching, we talked about the Scrum Master working with a team, right? But then when you have an Agile coach, they may have the opportunity to mentor and coach multiple Agile teams. Without getting too much into the framework conversation, somebody mentioned that they've been a release train engineer. I think, George, you had mentioned you'd been a release train engineer?
That's correct.
Correct, right? And as we know, in the SAFe framework, right, a release train engineer has the opportunity to be sort of like that coach for multiple Agile teams. When Agile teams come together on their Agile release train, if the organization is using the SAFe framework. So that could also be referred to sort of like at the program level. Okay, and we're using the word program level because a lot of project management offices or EPOs in organizations, they sort of had this structure. But think about you're coaching one team, right? But then you have the opportunity to coach many teams. When you're at the organizational level, that's where the enterprise coaching capability comes in. This is an opportunity to have a leadership role as an Agile coach, right? Which is a privilege for those of us that have had the opportunity to work in organizations that have that role. And there you might be reporting directly to a CIO or a C-level. You're in that leadership role with the executives. And the biggest difference there is that an enterprise coach is actually transforming an organization. An enterprise coach will come in and to a company that is not Agile and strategically work with the leaders to create the capabilities in the organization to transform that organization, I would say as an example, from waterfall to Agile. And that is a more of a strategic role that could have Agile coaches reporting up to them, right? Could even have Scrum Masters reporting up to them. But it's moving the needle in an organization and working with leadership to make a whole company go Agile. Do any of your organizations have enterprise coaches? Does anybody want to share? Do you guys work with an enterprise coach, or do any of you that are coaches report up to an enterprise coach?
We have a few enterprise coaches actually, but it's just because of the sheer size of the organization. But it's a challenge in and of itself because it's such a big organization that just to get everybody at the same level, even with the most basic, alignments, sprints, how we're going to run our sprints, if they're going to be 2 weeks, if they're going to be Kanban, just to get everyone aligned is a nightmare. So, but yeah, we do have them. I still don't know which one belongs to us, but they're there.
And sometimes when companies are so big and they have different divisions, they may have an enterprise coach in multiple divisions. So that perhaps may be the structure. But the good thing is it's a strategic person who's helping the organization, and it's helping standardize the Agile transformation. So everybody's speaking the same language, perhaps it's getting the same training, right? And has the same mindset. One of the key things at the enterprise level is an enterprise coach is coaching leadership, okay? And there are many organizations that are doing Agile, but the leaders are not being coached. One of the key capabilities and one of the key responsibilities that we want enterprise coaches, let me say, to have the opportunity to do, because it is an opportunity that you sometimes get and sometimes you do not, is to be able to coach the leaders. Because in a true Agile transformation, the ideal Agile transformation, the transformation starts at the top and it starts at the bottom and it meets in the middle. That would be ideal. I think, Angela, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to add that in my organization, which is a global consulting firm, it's called Transformation Coach. And some of the challenges for us as far as leadership is concerned is that they don't want to be coached. They will walk the talk, but they really don't want to be coached in Agile practices. They just want everyone to be billable. And for them, a lot of times that means to keep everything waterfall, even though they are calling it an Agile delivery project, or whatever we're calling it these days. So, but yeah.
It's to get that buy-in is the number one thing, right? So as part of the consulting company that I've been able to be a part of, key things that we go in is we have an executive Agile coach. He's actually an executive Agile coach, and he brings leaders together the same way that you would bring an Agile team together. And it starts with that mindset conversation, which is wonderful. And we have seen that make a big difference. So I wanted to note a little bit of that. But just so that you guys understand, when we're talking about Agile coaches, there are multiple levels, and that's really what we're showing here in this slide. Okay. Do we have any other questions out there, Nelu? Anybody else? I don't know, Crystal, did you have? I think, Crystal, you mentioned you were an enterprise Agile coach. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I noticed it kind of goes both ways. So if you don't have the leader's mindset shifted in order to support the different structures and the different relationships that are necessary to have within the organization, then the team on the team level, you can't really thrive. So it's kind of meeting both sides, but I do spend a lot of time coaching and supporting Agile coaches and Scrum leaders so that they can understand the messaging that is coming from the leadership perspective. So it's like connecting the dots, and they also help me to understand what's happening on the team level.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, Nelu, next slide. What do we have? Okay, so here's a little bit again of what we were talking about, right? Servant leadership, guys, that's like our number one thing for all leadership. I'm going to say that, not just for Agile leaders, right? So the Agile team facilitator, just a little bit here. For those of you that are starting out, this is kind of basics, a little bit of what the Scrum Master role would embody. Servant leadership, facilitation skills are huge, mentoring, some training skills. Scrum Masters could be working more directly at a team level, right? And they're facilitating a lot of the Scrum meetings, and they're motivating, and they're dealing with conflict management as well. And then they're also helping teach others about Agile. That's a little bit there, but there's a lot more to the Scrum Master role than this. Next slide. I think we were gonna go, okay, the exercise was after Nelu, right? Okay, so then the Agile coach is very much the same, okay, but taking it to a higher level, now you're coaching multiple teams. One of the great things that I love, and Julie was asking me, hey, you're doing a training tomorrow, we launch teams. So an Agile coach as well, we've got something called a team launch. So whether it's a company that is doing Agile for the first time, or a company that already has Agile teams, sometimes you have a new Agile team. If it's a company for the first time and you're helping out with the transformation, we're like, hey, we'll bring together your new Agile team, maybe like in a pilot, or where the best opportunity is to implement Agile. And we'll actually bring a cross-functional team together, and we train them, and then we coach them. And then we're with them for a while to take them to a certain level of maturity. So that is a lot of what Agile coaches do every day. Like, a lot of us have a lot of different teams under us, and we do Agile maturity assessments for the existing teams, or we come in when they need us. But for new teams, we're there with them for quite some time until they reach a certain level of maturity. We work with the Scrum Masters, with the product owners, with the technical leaders, but we're there in that daily team, in the team's daily stand-ups, helping them learn how to estimate for the first time if they're doing that, working with that Scrum Master to run, super responsive retrospectives, and also helping them with a lot of fun team activities, because we want Agile teams to have a lot of fun. But this is what you'll see an Agile coach who's working with multiple Agile teams do on a daily basis, that and then some, right? Let's see, next slide. And then the enterprise Agile coach, as we said, strategic thinking, organizational development. They're focusing on the culture of the organization, a lot of leadership conversation, has great communication strategies. They're also identifying organizational resistance patterns, a little bit of what Crystal was sharing, right? The challenges in the culture, understanding where the missing gaps are, and supporting the Agile adoption across the enterprise. Okay, so what does it take to be an Agile coach? This framework I love. I think many of you perhaps have seen this already. These are the many different skills. Those of you that are Scrum Masters that want to get promoted to be Agile coaches, or those of you that are Scrum Masters that are considered Agile coaches already in your organization, those of you who want to be Scrum Masters, and even those of you that are in a leadership role, okay? Look at this from the leadership perspective. Teaching, coaching, mentoring, facilitating, and being an Agile Lean practitioner. Okay, those are the many different capabilities that an Agile coach has as well. And then what I love is that in the bottom, you see there's the different areas of expertise, because we all come from different backgrounds, right? So not all coaches are perfect in all of these different capabilities. We all come into the Agile coaching role with certain level of expertise and with some knowledge more than in one area than another. But our goal, even for myself, has been, how can I get better at each and every one of these every day? And I'm still working on this, guys. I am still working on this, and I will continue to work on this, right? So I can tell you what I love to do. I started out in Agile as a trainer, which I loved it. Okay, and that was my first thing. And so that's part of what comes natural to me, right? And because I always say, oh my goodness, when I teach, I learn, because I learn so much from my students. The facilitation part, just to share a little bit of my background, because I came from project management, right? The facilitation part was something that I had been practicing for years, right? How to facilitate a meeting, how to bring people together, how to engage in conversation. That was a great skill that I have to say, it was thanks to my project management background. And I did say that out loud. All right. I did say that out loud. The coaching and the mentoring was new to me, even though I was sort of doing it because I was in a leadership role, and I had been a manager in a leadership role before that as well. But the coaching and the mentoring, I can tell you that have been more and more refined as I got into Agile and as I became an Agile coach. And I'm still working on those, because those, some people are awesome in that. For me, I gotta work hard on those, because there's a lot of different techniques related to that I did not always learn when I was a manager. So I gotta say, as leaders, those are leadership capabilities that, regardless of whether you're an Agile or not, that we need to get better at as leaders. And when I was a manager before Agile, I didn't always get the right training or the right opportunities to learn more about that. I actually got into that when I got into Agile. But I think a lot of you have different backgrounds, which I hope you do in your companies and organizations. The Agile Lean practitioner, that one is, I hear a lot of you, I got this certification, I got that certification. That's where we become the subject matter experts. But because you're an Agile coach, it is our responsibility to become Agile Lean practitioners in Agile, because it's our job and that's our area of expertise, which means get your certifications, learn about the different frameworks. You're here at the meetups, you're learning, right? And as I always say, Agile is not a destination, it's a journey, right? And as you know, if you put on that Agile consulting hat, when you go into a company, you kind of have to figure out what's best for them. And in order to do that, we got to come in with a bag of tricks and all these different techniques from all these different frameworks that you've been studying so hard and you've been getting all your certifications on. Then you kind of figure out, hey, what can I put into practice? What's going to work for this team, for this company, for this group, etc. Right? And the technical mastery and the business mastery, every time you go into a new company, it's a whole new different business. It could be a different industry, but that's been the same for most of us in our previous technology field, right? And there's so much new technology now, guys. AI, right? We're starting to teach AI, and there's something new every day. And oh my God, now there's AI for Agile. Guess what? That's coming. Okay, so we kind of have to get ready for that. The transformation mastery is that enterprise coach that has had the privilege, and I keep saying that because, again, to get that opportunity is rare, to be able to implement Agile in an organization strategically. That's creating roadmaps. That's analyzing the company and the industry and the customers and the organizational structure and figuring out how you're going to bring Agile teams together, where to start, where to go next, second, third, and fourth, and take that company and those leaders through that journey, which is pretty exciting. So we're going to do a couple of exercises on a Jamboard because I need to get you guys moving and thinking. And so Nelu is going to put a Jamboard on the chat. And how many of you, I think you guys, we're all sticky experts, right? You guys all know how to use stickies? Everybody's good with stickies? Okay, so let's have some fun here, guys. So what is Agile coaching? And share with us your understanding, and there is no wrong answer, please, around the different characteristics and competencies of an Agile coach. And we threw in there the characteristics as well. I talked a little bit about the competencies, but share with us what are some great characteristics and competencies on an Agile coach. If you guys can please click on the chat, on the Jamboard, and just start putting some stickies out there, please. Ignelu, do you refresh? Do you need to refresh or? Oh, yeah, there it is. Let's see. You can help me organize them, Ignelu. That would be awesome. All right. So if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna ask you to share. So I'm gonna pick a couple. I can't pick on all of them, but who put emotional intelligence? Who put emotional intelligence? Who wants to share?
Okay, I put emotional intelligence. And the reason why I say that is because as an Agile coach or Agile practitioner, you are also going to face a lot of resistance. And if you're not a person that's emotionally intelligent, you're going to take everything personal without realizing that with every change, there comes resistance because there are concerns, there are fears, and just sometimes change is really scary. In any level, even on an organizational level. So as an Agile practitioner, I feel like emotional intelligence is very, very, very important and key to the role that you play. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to achieve that goal of transformations that you're trying to bring about in the organization or whatever else that it is that you're required to do.
I love it. Thank you so much. That was great. I think maybe self-awareness goes along with that. Who added self-awareness, if you guys don't mind sharing?
I did, along those same lines. So you have to be aware of how you're showing up and how you impact a certain situation in order to be able to navigate through different things that are happening with teams.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Systems thinking, who put that one? Systems thinking, who put that one? Let's see, anybody?
They step out.
All right, I like that one. I think that one's great because you got to see the big picture, right? And you got to look at all the different layers and all the different impacts of why things are happening and look at it from all the different perspectives. Empathy is a real good one. Who put that one? Does anybody want to share?
I think
I
that
put
might have been me.
Huh?
Oh, go ahead. Does someone else put empathy?
No, I said I also put empathetic. That's very important for an Agile coach to have, especially because you have a lot of folks that may feel insecure. It's the first time they're doing this stuff. They may not know, and being able to be empathetic and supportive is definitely something that fosters growth and helps us see the light at the end of the tunnel.
I love that. And that's one of my favorite ones, right? Is putting ourselves in somebody else's shoes as well, right? And showing up with empathy. That's very, very good. Okay, we got some great ones there. Process improvement, absolutely. A lot of us come with that background already in our bag of tricks. So that's also a good characteristic to have. And patience, a lot of patience. I'm going to raise my hand here, right? Many times you guys have heard the phrase is you gotta meet them where they're at, and not everybody's ready for change. And so sometimes we go into an organization that has a very low level of maturity when it comes to their thirst for Agile or thirst for change. Leaders are a challenge, but even at the team level, there's a lot of challenges. So having a lot of patience. If you've come from organizations where you've had an amazing Agile experience, wow, that's a privilege. But then when you come into new organizations, you got to know, hey, you got to meet them where they're at. You got to be patient. You got to kind of help them and coach them and mentor them until they're ready, right? But I love it. Leadership, facilitators, Agile, knowing the Agile manifesto, absolutely. That's like, you know, our manifesto is like, that's the basis for everything. So we got some real good ones there. Okay, great. I think we're ready for the next exercise, Nelu?
Yes.
Okay, so the differences between coaching and mentoring. Help us out with this one, guys. What do you, and a lot of people sometimes get confused between these two, but let's do this fun exercise. Just go to the next board. I think it's board number 2 out of 10. And
Yes.
give us your thought about the differences between coaching and mentoring. All right, let's take a look at these. All right, so we see in coaching, guiding, powerful questions. We're going to be talking about powerful questions in a little bit, so thank you for putting that. Draw out. Let's see, who put draw out? What do you mean by that? Who put that one?
I did. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm here. Meaning you're drawing out their ideas rather than telling them what to do.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. And sometimes we use powerful questions to do that, right? And let's see, coaching may be more performance driven and mentoring is longer period, perhaps. Task oriented, a mentor shares knowledge while the coach guides. Okay, so you see the one in the middle that says a mentor shares knowledge while the coach guides. So let me see what you guys put in mentoring. Demonstrating. Who put demonstrating? Who put demonstrating on the mentoring side?
I did.
All right.
So where you show some behavior, activity, some outcome you desire, and then they imitate or something like that. So there is paving the way for somebody to follow.
Okay. Very, very good. So there are key differences, as you guys could see here, between coaching and mentoring. Many folks would think, oh, what's the difference? They're the same, but they're not. So Sammy, you're absolutely right. When you coach, you're sort of not giving the individual that you're coaching the answer. You're kind of helping them discover the answer for themselves, right? Most people, you may be coaching them because they come to you with a problem or they're trying to achieve a goal. So the main difference, sometimes when we mentor, we may be sharing, hey, you know, our advice or the way that we reach certain goals or the way that we achieve something. And we may be sharing with them, you know, sort of like our techniques. However, in coaching, we try not to give an answer. We try to help the individual discover their own answers and sort of figure out, you know, how they're going to find that goal or solution that problem, right? So what's that saying about the fish and fishing? Somebody help me out with that. If you teach a man how to fish, what's that saying? Somebody's got to be better at that than I am, please. What was that?
If you
teach somebody how to fish,
no, if
they
you
can
give
eat
someone a
forever.
fish, they'll be there forever. But if you teach them how to fish, I don't know, they'll move on or something like that.
They can fish all the time, right?
No,
So
if you give
I
them-
teach you how to
They'll
fish,
become business owners. I don't know.
I think it's if you give a man a fish, he can eat. But if you teach him how to fish, then he can eat forever.
There you go.
you guys are so much better than I am. I am terrible with riddles, but I think you all get the gist of it. You did a great job. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Nailu. Absolutely. So in coaching, we're teaching how to fish. In mentoring, every once in a while, we might give you a fish. So anyways, it's kind of funny, but it's a little bit of the difference. Does that make sense? Can you guys think of an opportunity where you have coached versus when you have mentored? Anybody want to share an example where perhaps when you have been coached versus when you have been mentored?
I did a little bit of coaching last Saturday.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was a really, really wonderful experience. And their problem was that they, let me see, I don't know if I can find it. Hold on a second. I'll find it.
I mean, you don't have to share the problem, but you can at least say your approach, right, Julie?
Okay, yeah. So the problem was they didn't finish the sprint. They don't ever finish their sprint and ways they can get better. And then I asked, what have you tried? And have they done any of these things? And why aren't you working harder at estimating? And why aren't your cards not clearer? What is in your retro or not good bringing into next sprints? So I just kept asking what and why questions. And then he himself was answering those questions as I was asking each question. And it finally boiled down to he got his answer,
Okay.
which was really, really cool at the end.
All right.
So, and it made it, he actually stopped himself and he goes, wow, some of these things are stuff I haven't even thought of. So I thought that was really cool.
So how did you feel at the end?
I felt great. I was happy. He was happy. And I felt like I had accomplished something. And I also felt like I had learned something.
Okay, very good. Very good. That's what counts. That's what counts.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, let's do the last one. And we're going to spend a little bit less time in the last one so we can move forward to the slides. Okay, the difference between teaching and facilitating, guys. And what are the different characteristics or the skills that we got to have for teaching versus facilitating? Let's do this. We're just going to only spend like less than 5 minutes on this one.
Regina, I'm having some issues with putting my sticky notes, so that's why you haven't seen my participation there.
Oh, you can put it in the chat and I can help you.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go. Sam puts the right riddle in the chat. Give a man to fish. He eats for a day. Teach a man to fish. He eats for a lifetime. There we go. That sounded better.
Thank you so much, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
I got to copy that one and remember.
Yeah.
Were all of you aware that Agile coaches train all the time? And that training is also a capability of Agile coaches. Were all of you aware of that? It doesn't mean that you are doing full-fledged trainings, but sometimes you get the opportunity, or it'd be nice if you would get the opportunity to maybe even do like mini workshops. So let's say some of you don't get the opportunity to do full-fledged trainings in your organization, but you could do mini workshops and mini trainings for your teams or for your Scrum Masters or for your product owners. Something as simple as teaching them how to do user story writing or how to estimate. And for that, you got to put on your teaching hat. So Scrum Masters, again, you may not be called Agile coaches, but that is something that, we highly encourage you guys to do with your teams. Have fun with that. Put together some workshops. Identify what are the areas of opportunities for your teams from the retros, from feedback that you've gotten, from classes that you've taken, and maybe do some fun lunch and learns. That's always a great opportunity. All right, so the difference between teaching and then facilitating, asking questions, making sure that all voices are heard. Absolutely. That is a great characteristic for facilitators. Okay, so I think we're good. Thank you guys for sharing, and thank you for using the Jamboard. I think, is this the last exercise in this section, Elu?
Yes.
Okay, can you go to the next slide?
Sure.
Actually, in the Jamboard, go to the next one.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do an exercise, and this is more of a retrospective for you all. Okay. I want you to, we're going to have the picture of the Agile coaching competency in the next couple of slides. If you show the next one, it's going to be on slides. I don't see the numbers. If you can help me out.
Frame number 5.
There's like 3 of them, right?
Yeah. 6 and 7 are the same.
Okay, so and then now go back to the instructions. So this is more of a retro for yourself, right? Many of you may be seeing this for the first time. Other of you have seen this a million times, but we're always at a different point in our development. So where are you right now? From a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest. Think about your strengths and weaknesses in any or all of these capabilities. What skills sets do you feel you're strong in? And then strong in meaning that you're good and that you can help others. And what skill sets do you feel that you perhaps need more assistance on or you would like to grow in? So from a scale from 1 to 5, if each of you can pick a number for each of the boxes, that would be awesome. And you have the opportunity to do that in the next 3 whiteboards. And this is a retrospective exercise. You just put a number, it's anonymous. This is more for you all to kind of walk away and say, oh, wow, you know, I want to grow in this area, or I'm great in this area. And I hadn't really thought about that for a long time. And maybe I should be helping others grow in this area too as well. So Neilu, if you can share the next couple of boards.
Sure, let me share.
If you want to rate yourself, and again, it's anonymous, it's retrospective for yourself, in each of the areas of competencies, if you want to take some notes and write down some opportunities for growth for yourselves, or again, you know, we always say what makes us great, then let's go help others, you know, and think about people in your organization. If you're good in something, who can you go help? Who needs some assistance in your organization? That, wow, if you're great at this, let me go help some people out, or again, put together some workshops, etc. You know, go see where there's people that need assistance in different areas. I think Lydia put a comment on the chat. Lydia? About
Yes. Oh, definitely. I have been a teacher with Dade County and Broward County for over 15, 20 years. And I've been actually not realizing that I was using the Agile Lean Practitioner model for my way of teaching. And right now, becoming a Scrum Master, I'm noticing, because I haven't worked directly in the field, where I feel that I would need some help would be in the transformational mastery. In terms of coaching, facilitating, that's something, coaching and mentoring, teaching and mentoring, it's something that I've done basically all my life in previous roles. So I feel pretty strong with that. And in terms of the technical mastery, I've actually placed myself through front end and back end, learning how to code and learning all the different difficulties as far as the technology is concerned. So I'm feeling pretty strong with that. But in the transformational mastery is an area where I would like to consider gaining more, getting a little bit more, getting my feet wet and really trying to do more of that.
Awesome. And are you working right now in a company that perhaps has enterprise coaches?
Unfortunately, I'm coming from an adventure. I took care of my mom I was a caregiver for the past 3 to 4 years. My mom passed away this year in May. So I'm just getting back into the workforce again. While I was taking care of her, I was finishing my MBA degree. And just because she was my inspiration and that was my gift to her, that I completed that MBA degree, and that's what she wanted for me to do. So
wow, that's awesome, considering taking care of your parents is very, very, very difficult. And then to study your master's on top of that, that's just incredible. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah, that was my gift to her. She wanted me so bad. She was so strong in terms of the academia. She was a stickler for everyone having an advanced degree. You just can't be you just couldn't have a bachelor's. You have to have a master's and then move on to your doctorate, or have a doctor or law degree. She was a stickler for that. And so I gave her that gift of getting my MBA degree while I was taking care of her. So now that she passed away, I'm here by myself in Miami and trying to get back into the workforce.
All right, Lydia. So come to our Saturdays events if you can, because we have volunteer Agile coaches, and a lot of them are enterprise Agile coaches. By the way, Crystal, if you ever want to volunteer Saturday mornings, we have a lot of enterprise Agile coaches that are coaching and mentoring. It's a great networking opportunity, but it's a great learning opportunity. Some of our breakout sessions are about Agile transformations. There are many topics depending on the level, but I would love for you to join us. Nelu is going to put the link on the chat so you can sign up, and then please look me up on LinkedIn.
Will do.
Okay, as well. Would love to chat with you. Okay, so thank you so much. Okay, this is a retrospective. I hope you guys took the time to do this yourselves as individuals, so at least you can walk away saying, okay, you know, what are my areas of growth opportunities, right? We always want to have that continuous improvement mindset. And then more to come on that. So again, this exercise was for you guys to take that with you, okay? And so Lydia, thank you so much for sharing. Nelu, I think we need to go back to the slides real quick.
All right. All right, let me go ahead and share.
All right, here's a little bit about that mastery area. Again, Lydia, you sounded like you came from a teaching background. So a lot of these skills are already there, which is wonderful, right? The facilitating, the teaching, right? The technical, again, the technical is something we learn. A lot of us come from development backgrounds, so that's sort of a given. But again, the technology part, whether you're working with a new team in a new industry, the business part, the technology part, that's something that we have to learn every time we go help a new area, right? Which makes it fun. That's why we love what we do. The transformational part, know that there's two pieces of that. There's the organizational transformation, which is your process improvement, how you're going to distribute the teams, looking at different processes and procedures in the company, delivery, the customer, how often they're delivering, the physical structures, how the organization prioritizes, the budgeting, all of that's included in there. But then there's the culture part. Agile coaches improve organizational culture, okay? And so when you have a good Agile transformation, I want to say culture has to be prioritized. The mindset has to be a priority in an Agile transformation for it to be a good Agile transformation. When you're missing that piece, it's only like, it's a framework, it's a process, it's not about the mindset. So coaches, we focus on the mindset. So it's people having a different conversation, approaching each other conversation. I'm going to throw out the word values, working agreements. These are a lot of the things that help us. These are techniques that help us have better conversations with our teams as well. So a little bit of that there. Next slide, May. Let me see. Okay, so I had a lot more material, but we did spend a lot of time in the exercises. What I'd like to do, Nelu, if you don't mind, is let's turn off the presentation. And we have a lot of Agile coaches on this call, right? So I'm going to shift things around a little bit. I'm going to be Agile, shift and adapt, all right? Because we got a couple of good minutes. If you guys want to share what have been some of your biggest challenges as coaches and how have you dealt with them? And because I think the folks that want to be coaches would love to hear. I'm going to throw out a couple of questions and you guys get to pick and choose. Why do you love being an Agile coach? And a little bit about what you do every day and a little bit about yourself and why you love doing what you do. The other question is, what are some of the challenges as a coach that you're running into? And perhaps if you want to share some of how you've addressed those challenges. And then what do you see the future of Agile coaching? That's another great conversation topic that we all have to be talking about today. Who wants to start? I'm going to open up the floor. I'm going to pick on Adolfo.
Come on, Adolfo, yes.
Adolfo. Adolfo has the camera off, but I don't see him muted. I don't know how his phone is doing.
The thing is that I think he cannot hear us because I don't see him connecting his audio.
Oh man. Okay, okay. I work with Adolfo, that's why I'm picking on him, guys. All right. But I did ask some great questions. Who would like to share? Let's learn from each other.
Who here is an agile coach?
I know a lot of you said you were Agile coaches. I heard release train engineers and even Scrum Masters. Come on, Scrum Masters are Agile coaches as well.
So what was the question again?
All right. So what are some of the challenges that we're facing with our teams, with our leaders, with our organization from the Agile perspective? And how have you guys addressed some of those challenges? That was the first one. The other part is, what do you love about being a coach or being a Scrum Master? And what are the things that you love teaching your teams about?
Or why did you become a coach to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the things that I would say that I face is moving forward. Like everybody seems to be stuck in a spot, and there's moving the needle. I guess it's called moving the needle. Our team is we're finding it challenging to move the needle, to show progression. So we
To show what?
to show progression.
Okay.
And to be able to there's a lot of wanting to contribute, and we're facing kind of a brick wall and being able to contribute.
From the coaching perspective, did you have any advice for them?
From the coaching perspective, I would say find out what your blockers are. And if you can address your blockers first, then the flow would be a lot smoother.
Okay. Very cool. Thank you, Judy. Let's see, Crystal. She turned off her volume.
Oh no, I was just thinking of the first question of what challenges I've seen. And it's really about identifying and be able to articulate the value that you bring into the organization without really focusing on labels. So with the agile terminology, everybody kind of gets labeled into like release train engineer, scrum leader, or scrum master, things like that, but really kind of understanding like how you put up those different competencies and saying, I bring this to the organization. This is the value that I bring, and being really clear on that when you have those conversations with leaders. I think I see a lot of people being challenged with being able to say, this is the value that I bring to the organization, and this is why it's important that I'm here.
Do you get called into conversations? Do you get asked to join? Okay. Yeah, because sometimes I show up in meetings and nobody knows why I'm there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people don't know the difference between what you just explained in this whole session. So, I mean, just being able to teach the organization that is a big win.
I mean, sometimes I'm going to say a lot of us belong to an Agile transformation office, right? But some organizations don't have that structure. Agile coaches are all over the place. It just depends. But a little bit of marketing, putting out there, hey, Agile coaches are doing a lunch and learn. You're teaching the organization what you guys do. If you're fortunate enough to be able to work in different divisions, do like your own little lunch and learns and teach people about the role. And what they can come to you with as well. You do that on a one-on-one anyways, right? When you have the opportunity, but that's always good. But get the buy-in then from leadership to do more of a formal, like, hey, we're Agile coaches, this is what we do, right?
Right. Or sometimes they might call you Scrum Masters and you support like 7 teams. You're Agile coach. You know what I mean? So really kind of making that clear that you're doing that role, although they have you in that title.
Yeah. Awesome. No, thank you so much for sharing. And then I think, George, you said you were a release train engineer. Are you doing that now?
Hey, sorry, I am caught in between. So I work PST time and I live in the EST time zone. So I'm kind of like multitasking. Yes, I did. Not in my current work. Like currently I am an implementation manager and agile coach, where I currently work. But yes, before this um present job that I do, I was an RTE. We had about It's a huge organization. We had about 7 trains, of which I was part of one. Pleasant experience, but I must confess that yeah, I mean, when you find a lot of misnomer going on out there. You have a scrum master managing 4 or 5 teams, like Crystal said. It is a misnomer because not only are you putting the scrum master in jeopardy, the entire team as well are in jeopardy because um and this not to say that other scrum trainings are not effective, but if you're managing multiple teams, then you also want to be sure that you have a bit of skilled agile experience, which helps you to understand that space. I was offered the role of an RTE even before I got my certification, and I pleasantly turned it down because not because I don't want to, first, I don't want to make a fool of myself, but I also want to learn under an RTE, be a part of an art, and then also get my certification. And when that came into place, I understood why I needed all those 3 things to come in place. I would always advise that a scrum master with less than 5 years experience should not manage more than 2 teams. And I continue to say that, and respectfully so too. Experience plays a lot of role in this. And I agree. In my present place of work, I think and I take this from, I think, a couple of experience, from time past. It's always trying to get the culture built from top to bottom, even though what I have often faced is management expecting it to come from bottom up.
Yeah.
They kind of like feel more comfortable within that space. Like, hey, make sure the organization is agile. But they don't want to do that, or they kind of like ask that they do. So when I moved into the agile coach space, and moved up a little up, higher, the management ladder, I was able to have direct engagement with, C-level management. And I started my training from that end, basically helping them, catch up to the agile mindsets, and allowing people actually be work. This is, like we'll say it is, how would I describe it now? This is knowledge work, right? Where everybody, comes to the table with some kind of skill sets, and you must allow them express themselves, So to an extent, we must allow mistakes as well. We must remove the bottlenecks of which I find very common, a whole lot of hurdles, created by management, getting approvals from tons and tons of middle management. And I think this is one of the biggest hurdles we'll find in our SDLC space,
Yeah.
not allowing the teams to take decisions, so so for me, it's been the continuous engagement with C-level management, helping them embrace the whole idea of agile. And once you're successful with that, what I've noticed is the team is ready to accept it. They just need management to lead, so that has been my challenge. Coming from when I became an RT now to as an implementation manager. Another thing you guys will probably have noticed is, and Crystal said this, taking away the title, which we really need to take out, Scrum Master, Agile Coach, RTE, and everything. The bottom line is what are we bringing to the table? What are we teaching? What are we coaching? What skill set are we transferring? Are we mentoring? Are we coaching? Like we mentioned out here. So I just feel that there's so much more to share. There's so much more to learn as coaches, and even for us, there's continuous improvement. So it's ongoing. I keep battling with managers, yes, with C-level managers.
Thank you. What I
Sorry,
love,
I bounce back and forth.
No, thank you so much, George. I appreciate it. The biggest thing is continuing to have a continuous improvement mindset, or what we call relentless improvement mindset, guys. It's all that it's about. So for those of you that are starting out, for us that are a little bit further, for those of you that are up here, it's all about learning and getting better every day, right? So I thank you guys so much for joining us today.